Hi all, welcome to this revision session of 15 CV 833 payment design. So as you all know, the subject basically comprises of 5 modules, and from each module you are expected to answer one question from a choice of two, and each question will be having subdivisions, and the total marks for which the paper will be evaluated will be 80. And generally the question paper pattern will be like it will be half session, half will be theory and half will be problematic. So this is a general way in which it appears. So might be there will be slight variations wherein it will be 40% theory and 60% numerical, or 60% theory and 40% numerical. And so keeping this in mind, so I would just like to go through it. I've already shared you 3 sets of question banks that can be used for this subject. And basically the like that question bank, in fact, it is not module wise segregated. So I will just try to open it. So these are the different question banks that are being provided. So this is a set 1 question bank, as you can see here. And second one is a set 2 question bank. And also we have a set 3 question bank. Yeah. So these are the 3 sets of question banks. So I'll be mainly speaking with reference to this, and also I will be sharing you the previous internal test solutions, and I'm definitely I'm quite confident that all of you will be able to come out in flying colors if you go through all these study materials and all my PPTs as such. So in order to do this revision exercise, so I have thought of taking one question paper, that is a July 2019 question paper. So with reference to that, I will be doing the revision sessions, and so that no, you will be also getting a grip on how exactly the question paper is. I know that there are lots of indefiniteness for students, wherein whether the charts will be provided and all those things. So let us see the first question that is coming from module 1. Draw a neat sketch of cross section of a flexible payment and describe the functions of each layer. So I think this question is very clear. So you know that flexible payment is a payment wherein it is having a layered structure, and it will be having a the load distribution will be in a truncated pattern. So the top layer will be supposed to carry a higher magnitude of load, and the stresses will be decreasing as and when we go down. And so the top layer will be having a high quality material, and the bottommost layer will be of a lower quality material. And we can even think of having alternative materials for the lower layers, because the objective of this is to have a smooth load transfer. So this was already discussed in the class, and so now let me take you to the next question. So already in this last class, I have told you about this. So determine the deflection values under a V load of 60 kilonewton and a contact pressure of 0.7 Newton per mm square in a homogeneous mass of soil at a depth of Z is equal to 2.5 A up to a radial distance of R is equal to 5A. Take modulus of elasticity as 8 Newton per mm square and sketch the deflection curve. So you can see that this is a Foster and Alvin's chart that they have provided, which is a vertical deflection graph. As you know that the graph is not so clear, so this also you should be expecting in the examination. Might be the graph may or may not be clear, so you have to be prepared with that. And however, anyway, I have tried to, so I have told you how it is a methodology on how to do this, but still I will try to explain you how to get along with this problem. So let me take you through the solution. So I am just doing a revision classes, one file, so that this will help you to understand the what are the problems that we have discussed. Yeah. So this is the same question. I have to copy down the question. So please look here. So this is a typical case wherein we have to use Foster and Alvin's chart. So in the Foster and Alvin's chart, you are asked to calculate the value for deflection value. The deflection value you can determine by using this expression W is equal to Q into A into E into F, where Q is nothing but called as a tire pressure or contact pressure. So which is given in your question, that is it is 0.7 Newton per mm square. And then what is A? A is nothing but contact radius. Please don't confuse. It is not contact area or anything. It is just contact radius. And how do you get the value for contact radius? You know that the load is 60 kilonewton and contact pressure is 0.7. From using these two, you can find out what is the contact radius. How do you get it? You can see here. Contact radius, that the contact area pi into a square is equal to 60 into 10 to the power of 6, 60 into 10 to the power of 3 divided by 0.7 Newton per mm square. So I have not bothered to convert this into meter and all. So finally my answer will also be in meter. That's not what I'm doing. So I will be getting the value for A as 165.18. So I got the value for QA. If I have to get it from the graph, I mean the chart that they have provided. E value also they have given in the question. What is the value for E? E is given as 8 Newton per mm square. So I am given that also. So substitute all these things, okay, and you will be getting the value for W. Now, how are you going to get the value for F? F is not just one value. F is a function of Z by A. What is Z? Z is nothing but the depth, and Z by A. A is nothing but again the contact radius. And similarly, these curves, they are all with respect to R by A. So this is R by equal to 0, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1 like that. So they are all for R by A, different values of R by A. So in order to make it like that, and they have also asked you to find out the deflection curve. So what did I do is, like, I made a tabular column like this, serial number, Z by A. What is Z by A? So Z is nothing but 2.5 A, right? So 2.5 A divided by A, which is nothing but 2.5. So this is constant throughout. Am I right? Now, what is the radius? So they are asked you to find out for R is equal to 5A. So I want to plot a curve. I cannot just like that take it. So I have taken the values in such a way that R is varying from 0 to 5A. So when R is varying from 0 to 5A, I have put the incremental values, that is R by A, that is 0 by A, 1A by A, 2A by A, 3A by A, 4A by A, 5A by A. So I will be getting the values of R by A as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I know the different values of Z by A as well as R by A. And knowing these two, I can find out what is the F value from the deflection chart. So I'll show you how to do this. See, for example, 2.5 and 0, right? 2.5. So I have drawn a line here. You can see here, this is for 2.5. So because Z by A is constant. Now, first case, what is that? R by is equal to 0. So this is the last curve. So I will just try to zoom it so that you can understand it better. So R by A is 0. So what will be the value? So this is 0. For 0, this is the value. So which is nothing but approximately 0.55. So you can see here, I have written 0.0.55, it is 0.54. So I have just taken 0.54. What is the next value for R by A? 1. So for 1, I have come across. So this is the graph for 1. Come along this, and where it intersects this line, so this is the point, take it up, you get it as around 0.48 or 49. I've written 0.49. Next is 2A by 2. So I have to take 2. So this is the graph for 2 where it is intersecting. It is intersecting here, and the value is around 0.37 or 36. Yes. And like that, I have got it. Now, having got a value for F, I can find out the value for W by using this equation, wherein W is nothing but the deflection. So W, which is nothing but the deflection. Okay, in mm, I can get these values as, just substitute all these things, you will be getting it. Just do cross-checking and you will find out. Now I have now we have got the deflection values, but my answer is not complete because we have to plot the deflection chart, deflection curve. So I have plotted a graph in such a way that, so you can see here, this is the A times the radial distance in mm. So that means this is at least below the V load. So this graph, so this one is related to the 0 represents below the V load, and as it is going away from the V load, you can see that the value of the deflection keeps on reducing. So I hope this methodology is clear. So what is this deflection in mm? Actually, so this is with reference to So this is a value for the maximum value for deflection because it is nothing but 7.8, and I have got it like this. Please don't get yourself confused. This is not representing the depth. This is representing the y-axis is representing the deflection. So this is a deflection bowl that is there developed below the V load. Okay. And now I would also like to solve for you the next question of this question paper. So this question I've already explained. Now this problem is done, which is for 8 marks. And now compare the salient features of flexible and rigid payments. So what are the salient features of flexible and rigid payments? So I can see here, I've already given in my notes itself. Yeah. So critically compare. So these are all different ways in which the same question can be asked. So critically compare. So first one is based upon cross section. As you know that it is a layered structure. This is of concrete and characteristic. It reflects the deformations of subgrade and it is able to bridge over the localized failures and area of inadequate support. Load transfer. Its stability depends upon the aggregate, interlock, particle friction and cohesion, and by means of grain to grain contact. Structural strength is provided by the pavement itself by its beam or I will not put beam, I'll put it as slab action because it's more like a slab. And then design parameter, it is greatly influenced by the subgrade strength, and flexural strength is a major factor. The load distribution is by means of this pattern, that is a 45-degree, whereas in this case you can see that the load will be getting distributed in this pattern. And distribution of stresses. So this is the way in which the stresses can be distributed. So you can see that the most stresses will be there on the top, and whereas a design life is 15 to 20 years and 20 to 40 years, temperature stresses, thermal stresses are more vulnerable to be induced. Okay, and then deformations, you know that it will be subjected to heavier deformations, and overall cost, it is going to be more for a rigid payment. Maintenance cost is going to be low, and effect of oil spills, damaged by oils and chemicals, because most of the bituminous materials, they are all hydrocarbon based, so they will easily get melted by the oils. And poor visibility in the night because of its black color, and whereas the design parameter for the flexible payment is a CBR value, whereas for the rigid payment is modulus of subgrade reaction. So with this in mind, let me go on to the next question that is there. Yeah, so the next question is a plate load test. It was carried out on a subgrade using 300 mm diameter plate and corresponding to a deflection of 5 mm, and the load sustained on the plate per unit area was 0.08 Newton per mm squared. The test was repeated on base course of thickness 300 mm and unit load sustained was 0.45 Newton per mm square at the same deflection. Find the elastic modulus of subgrade and the ratio of EP by ES. EP represents pavement surface and ES represents subgrade. And what should be the thickness of the base course so as to sustain a V load of 50 kilonewton and a contact pressure of 0.6 Newton per mm squared, so that the maximum deflection does not exceed 5 mm. So before you go on to do a typical problem on this, I would just like to give a glimpse on the Boussinesq and Burmistrov method. So hope all of you remember what is Boussinesq theory, Burmistrov theory. Boussinesq theory is a single layer approach, whereas Burmistrov theory is a two-layer approach. And these are some of the assumptions that we make. It is semi-infinite, homogeneous, and isotropic. The soil has a linear stress-strain relationship. And so the main part in the case of Boussinesq and Burmistrov, right? Burmistrov, as I told you, it's a two-layer approach. And also in Burmistrov theory, what happens is like we assume that the top layer has a higher modulus of elasticity than lower layer. And accordingly, we generally have a graph of this pattern. This is a typical graph for a Boussinesq theory, wherein you can see that E1 by E2, because some of the different books and different books will be referring in a different way. E1 here represents the top layer modulus of elasticity and E2 for the bottom layer, and E1 is higher than E2. So this means that the first layer, the top layer is having a modulus of elasticity of 2 times that of the subgrade. This curve corresponds to the case wherein the modulus of elasticity of the top layer is 5 times that of the subgrade. So like that. Now, in order to do this, before I start doing this question, I will do a simple question which will help you to get a more confidence on this concept. And yeah, see a total a total load of 90 kilonewton was applied on the surface of a two-layer system to a rigid plate of 300 mm diameter, and layer 1 has a thickness of 200 mm and layer 2 has an elastic modulus of 44.42 MPa, and both the layers are incompressible with a Poisson's ratio of 0.5, and if the deflection of the plate is 2.5 mm, determine the elastic modulus of layer 1. See, in this case, what we are going to do this is, it's like we have to determine the modulus of elasticity of the first layer, and they are conducting the experiment by means of a rigid plate. And whenever, please keep in mind, whenever we are going to have for a rigid plate, deflection being measured by means of a deflection measurements being done by using a rigid plate measurement, we have to consider it as a rigid payment, and wherein the deflection equation is given by 1.18 into P into A by E2 into F, where E2 is the modulus of elasticity of the bottom layer, F is a deflection factor, which is considered as 1 when you start with the subgrade. P is nothing but the contact pressure. What is the contact pressure? Contact pressure is given by, you have to estimate, it is not given directly, it is 90 kilonewton and 300 mm diameter. So you can find out 90 kilonewton divided by area, you will get it as 1.273 MPa or 1.273 into 10 to the power of 6. Okay. And then you are going to have, what else you require? P is done, A is done. F, I told you, you start with 1. And what is the value for deflection they have given? If the deflection of the plate is 2.5 mm, so 0.0025 or 2.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3, and your objective is to find the value for E2, okay, which is nothing but the modulus of elasticity of the sorry, you are already given the modulus of elasticity of the subgrade, which is nothing but 44.2. So you can use this and find out what is the value for F, because you have to get the value for F, because since the value for modulus of elasticity of the bottom layer is given, you have to find out what is the value for F. You get the value for F is equal to 0.49. You are also given the thickness of the layer is 200 mm, that is 200 divided by 150 will be in your H by A, which is 1.33. Now by using this graph, so you can see F is equal to 0.49 and 1.33. Yeah. So 0.49 means it will come somewhere here, and 1.33 because this is 2. So just zoom this to 100%. Okay, so you can see here, this is 0.49, insert. So this is 0.49. So this is 0.49 and this is 1.33. So I have to make one more. So this is 1 versus 1.2 and this is 1.4. So the value for E1 by E2, you will be getting it as close to 0. This is 5, this is 10. So this value will be close to, I can say, it is close to 7, right? So Yeah, it is 7, and you will be getting the value for E2. So this is the way in which you will be getting the modulus of the first layer. Now, keeping this in mind, let us try to solve the numerical that is given in the university question paper. So I have taken down that same question here. So just I'm doing these things so that it will be very clear for you. You will not have a problem in understanding the same. So this was 0.49. Yeah. So now let us try to solve this question. So I will try to remove this. Uh, So whenever you are having, so same question I've copied down here. So what you are given here is you are, so in such a case, this is a typical case of a Burmister's problem. So this is a typical case. In this case, there are mainly 3 steps. First is determining the modulus of elasticity of subgrade. That is what exactly they have asked here. Second one is to find the ratio of EP by ES and find out EP. That is the second step. Third step is to determine the base course thickness. So the whole question, they have given it like this. Now, so what you can do here is, you can see here, see, you are given that first step, so E value of the subgrade. So whenever you have to determine the E value of the subgrade, first you have to assume that it is a rigid plate. And by considering this as a rigid plate, a rigid pavement, and you have to assume the value for Fw is equal to 1 to start with. Only for subgrade, we consider Fw is equal to 1. And I'm just tabulating the data. Deflection is 5 mm. Plate is 300 mm diameter, which is, so Fw is equal to 1, delta is equal to 5 mm. And P is equal to 0.08 into 10 to the power of 6. Okay, A is equal to 0.15. So by substituting all these things, you get delta is equal to 1.18 into P into A divided by E2. Okay, so from this you will be getting the value for E2. So this is a modulus of elasticity of the subgrade. So in the previous problem we have done, this value was already given E2. Suppose E2 is not given, this is the approach you have to follow. Now, once you get the value for E2, next one is the one that you did in the previous problem, E value of base course. Same concept. So delta is again given as 5 mm, right? So delta is again given as 5 mm. Okay, and the thickness is given as 300 mm and plate diameter is 300. So that is H by A will be equal to 300 by 150, which is equal to 2. Okay, now you use the same equation. So delta is equal to 5 mm and Fw you can. So please note, in the step 1 and 2, you consider it as a rigid plate. So that is the equation that you are going to use as 1.18 into P into A by E2. So E2 is always there in the denominator. E2 represents the modulus of elasticity of the subgrade. So by using this, you get the value for Fw. Knowing Fw equal to 0.178 and H by A is equal to 2, substitute this here. You can see here. So this is 0.178. So I put here. And also this is equal to 2, which is nothing but here. So you get it as around 48. Am I right? So you'll get this value as somewhere around this point. See, this point and this point. So this point, it is not at this 50 line, it's above this at intersection point, which is 48, and you get this value as 48. So you get it as E1 by 2 is equal to 48, or E of the base course is equal to 48 into 2.83 into 10 to the power of 6 times, which is nothing but 135.84 into 10 to the power of 6. Now I have to design a flexible pavement. Now, please note, this is the last part of the question. So you are asked to find out the thickness of the base course so as to sustain a wheel load of 50. So it is to be considered as a flexible pavement. You are given 50 kilonewton and 0.6 Newton per mm square. From that, you can get the contact radius as 162.86. Please note, this step you have to use the equation for a flexible plate. So delta is equal to 1.5 into P into A by E2 into FW. Delta is equal to this 1.5 into 0.6 into this one divided by, you will get the value for FW as 0.096. And once since the value for this one, E1 by E2 is equal to 48, you get H by A is equal to 7 because it will go outside it. So you can see here 0.096 and H by 0.096 and 48. You can see here 0.096 and 48. It will be, because this graph is here. See, this is 0. Okay, so here actually it is not. It's coming around somewhere around 48, 4h. So it is not 7. It is around 4 times that of a. So this is 4, and I will. So this is also somewhere around 48. Okay, so you get this value of h by a somewhere around 4.5. I think I have made a mistake here. You'll be getting this as 4.5. Okay, so h will be equal to, so h will be equal to 4.5 times of 0.163, which is nothing but 0.733 meter, which is also, I can take it as approximately 0.74 meter. So this is a very huge value because its value is a 48 times that of the subgrade. So this is because the value that is allowable deflection we are giving is only how much? 5 mm. Suppose you are given with a better quality subgrade material, or you are given with an option to have a higher tolerable limit for deflection, you could have got a slightly a higher value. Say suppose if the tolerable deflection is 8 mm, you'll get Fw is equal to 0.5154, and H by A, it will be, it may come to somewhere around 2.5. So that's what I have written here in the last. Anyway, this is not required. You have to stop only till here, but this is just for your understanding. I hope all of you have understood all these concepts, and so you can, so this is what exact, so by these things at least you will be comfortable to go through your module 1. So what are the things you have to keep in mind? The Burmister's theory and Boussinesq theory, and also what are the assumptions, limitations, and what are the characteristics of different layers and the differences between flexible pavement and airfield pavement. This is also a very, very important concept. It is there in my notes. Please have a reading exercise. And I hope all of you can follow this and try to cross check your answers. So happy learning. See you next on the coming days.